Is it Tuesday? We must be going live. Hello, everybody. Araya Onra here in For the Love of Dragons. And we had an interesting discussion come in this week from a question that I was emailed. And I always love tackling these on the live because they benefit so many people. And I think a lot of you are going to be touched by it or have answers to give friends or family members of yours. And that's going to be discussing the womb dragon, especially for those post-hysterectomy. If there's anybody out there that has experienced that or is in a state where there's friends or family with that, that was a really great discussion, and it's an important one here because of the importance of activating that womb dragon. And what do you do if you don't have that physical space anymore? So before I dive into that, I wanted to touch in on what to me is shaping up to be the most powerhouse Lionsgate energy on 8 to 8 this year. I have been part of and doing with my Dragon Hearts 8-8 activations for the last several years, just because it comes in as a big energetic portal, things that are happening with the dragons, energies that need to move forward or open to receive. And before that, I wasn't really paying a lot of attention. I'm just always in the field of what are the dragons doing. And knowing it's Lionsgate, it's very interesting timing and alignment with where I've been lately. I've shared that since 4th of July weekend, my first actual connection with the White Lions, that just prior to that, and then that continuing or really setting in motion this sensation for me of being on the bridge, being on the transition zone finally between the dragons and the lions, who are the kings. So the white lions being the regal kings and queens of the Lyran system. So all the felines, all the dragon hybrids, all the beings from the Lyran system being those that are going to be taking over the new earth grids and releasing the dragons. It's a very interesting transition time, and I've known that it was coming, of that handing over the baton of stewardship. Does that mean the dragons are gone for good? Does that mean they're gone right away? No, a lot of them will be able to retire, but until the transition is complete on all levels, they are here to do the work with humanity, and the 3D side bringing up to 5D, whereas the Lyrans are going to start holding that space for the creation, for the actual manifestation of the new earth plane as it comes into being, as we dream it into being together. And that whole harmonic of unity, that's in place, and we just have to step into it. So I've been watching that, and I had an interesting comment from someone asking my input about certain star seeds. They were particularly asking if I knew anything about star seeds from the Hydra system or dragon serpents from that system. I don't, only because there are billions of star systems, and I have not tuned into all of them. But if you are experiencing dragons or beings from any system or realm, whether I've talked about it or not, and you know the truth of it, it's probably valid. And I would say that the other piece that they inquired about was my sense or feeling about legions of cosmic plasma dragons that are bringing in new color frequencies to build the new earth, that are coming from a different universe. And that, to me, when I tuned in on it, is very accurate. It felt really in alignment with what I've known and experienced with the dragons that are coming in from much higher octave planes, excuse me, be it from our universe or the multiverse, to start expanding our own capacity in order to reach the energies that we want to reach, and have what's being shown to me as like the background potentiality available for us to really bring the new vibrant earth in. So yes, I agree with that. Yes, I feel that's very true, but I also don't feel like it's limited to these plasmic dragons. I do feel like there's a lot more presence of awareness of plasmic light beings, of that high level of what's almost like light field that penetrates tangibility. in a way, for us to perceive it as plasmic. It's reaching into some level of tangibility for us to perceive it, and that there may or may not be the true state in that higher plane, but that's our perception. So always keep in mind that our filters, our perception level, is from our own experience, from our well of bandwidth that we can grasp, and that as we activate higher energetic bodies of our own, when we get higher vibrational frequencies, we can remember or put terminology to something that is higher that's maybe not coming down quite as far. And I have had lots of new words, verbs, all kinds of things be coined in my readings or in my teaching space in the last year and a half in particular, that it's a new phrase because it's a new way of being able to perceive, and we have to break out of the old molds of definition and what we've set as boundaries for definition. And as we expand that, our vocabulary will expand with that. And so you might find yourself needing to create new words to fit the resonance of the energy trying to explain itself through you. So with that said, these plasmic cosmic dragons, or liquid plasma, they're not the only beings of that I've started perceiving lately. And definitely there's new frequencies, new colors that our own optic nerves are going to be shifting to be able to perceive. And they're laying the groundwork. And there's lots of help coming in. They may have been invited in by any number of beings. Could be from the dragons, could be from the Lyrans, or just the larger councils that are overseeing some of the expansion, bringing in those that have specialties in certain areas to get this corner of the multiverse lit up, I guess we would call it. So I want to dive into this aspect of the Wombhara dragon, because if you have the book and you've been working with the dragons, you'll know the importance of that one piece within. In the Wombhara, there's a womb dragon, hara dragon. I've been using those terms for woman, for the feminine having a womb space and the masculine having a hara space for a lot of years. And about 2 years ago, it was brought to my attention by the dragons and my guides that as I was ready to perceive the information and ready to actually move into a higher level of union within myself, that we don't just have one or the other, that every man has both a womb and a hara energetically, and every woman or female body has a womb and hara energetically. So whichever one you're physically playing out, that may actually feel like it's shifting as well as you come into a state of union through your energy bodies. But the key here is to focus on that energy body, because when you connect in with that womb dragon as described in the book, and you tap in and you go deep into that space, and you're in the hara, in the center of the void, and that soul seat right at the dantian, right behind the navel, and you're in that point of creation, you're in that point of connection to what I would consider the galactic mother, the void of creation, and in your own form, coming into physicality as human, there is this little tiny blackish green dragon encased in crystal, like a crystal ball. And it's the activation codes and the pieces as you come into full awareness of self and really activating that inner core piece to expand into your light body, to activate your crystalline DNA. You know, there are people out there like myself that hold keys and codes, especially with dragon lineages for me. That's what I do. And be aware that the activations, the energies that assist or that you feel expanding you, they may be coming into support from beings like myself, but you are the one activating and releasing your codes within your own field, because of the acceptance or the ability to say yes to the amplified field around you, which will then activate it. So in the activation or the connection with this womb dragon, as I describe in the book, you can go in and just sit with it and start communing and see what state is it in. Is it even awake? Is it in a deep hibernation sleep? Is it got some kind of movement behind the eyelid? Is it fully awake and like just sleeping, napping, waiting for you to play and come even acknowledge that it's there? It's one of those things that deep inside, it's like connecting to your inner child. And this is another point of awareness. Your inner child is not just, like for me, a little girl. I have a little girl and a little boy, and I have an inner full-grown male and an inner full-grown female. And those parts have started revealing in these higher levels of coming into unity within myself. So if that also starts showing up, or if you've had that and been confused by it or wanted confirmation from another source, I'm sharing that of my own journey. And what's part of my teaching and programs is that aspect that they all are both, and this almost four-way looping to come into union with the child, the adult, the male and the female on both sides with the child and the adult, that there's this almost four-way crossover union like a four-leaf clover, or what ends up coming into a double vajra energetically, which is also how the black and the white dragons, when they fuse together in you, come and present as the black pair and the white pair, and they come together, and it's a very similar double vajra. So there's overlay aspects in those expansion journeys to just be aware of and know, oh, yep, that's what's going on. I get it. And wow, now I understand why I've had this, I know I have a masculine, but I didn't really think I had a masculine child. Or if you're a man, didn't really realize you had an inner female child that's been waiting in the wings, waiting to be acknowledged, waiting to be brought into the fold and recognized and held and loved and appreciated and maybe forgiven or just embraced, seen. A lot of times our male or female isn't seen, and that has huge effect on how our journey plays out, because there's some part of us that's not being seen in the world around us. So I should say worlds around us. But in this journey into the Wombhara dragon, you don't have to have a physical womb anymore. And this, men don't go have a hysterectomy, but physically women, for whatever reasons, that becomes more common or happens more often as they age, or for whatever life circumstance has been going on. And it doesn't preclude you from your expansion journey, from your ability to be fully in your light body with all that you be, or even have any sense of anything missing, because the energetic templates are still there. The physical body, for whatever reason, having to have a piece removed from it, can heal itself and refill those spaces. There's not a void. But it's really about the core importance of the energy body, and whatever has happened with the removal of that, there may be trauma pieces still left in the energetic womb space that are part of why it manifests into something in the physical womb that required its removal. So you may still have trauma to go in and deal with in there. The black dragon working in that womb space is very, very powerful. And the connection into that, you'll still feel this extremely powerful connection going in and connecting with that Wombhara dragon and feeling the even the womb spirals. You might say, well, gosh, I don't have a womb anymore, but I feel like these spirals that you've mentioned or that came up in class or in the book club or whatever, that there's something activating there. I can feel movement of energy, and it's not Kundalini. And there are actually 5 womb spirals. Most of humanity has maybe one operational, and that's just a base level sexual energetic. But as you remember the truth of your higher self and start activating that, they will spontaneously activate at different stages. And especially when you focus on activating and awakening that womb dragon, that will help start clearing so that those womb spirals become active. And they are about being able to capacitate higher light, higher creative vortex, accessing the black light. So there's all kinds of pieces connected with that. But just know, it doesn't matter whether there's an actual physical aspect to the vessel or not. It's the energetic that's important, and I want everyone to just be aware of that. And maybe you're a man who's part of the group, and your wife or daughter or sister or auntie has gone through that, and they're on their journey, and you can give them that insight of moving past the physical loss and whatever emotions that brings up, because that does bring up a lot of emotions. that end up needing to be healed by releasing them. How do we heal emotions? We feel them fully. Humility for me, and this is a question that I always ask on my applications for programs. So if you're thinking about the Quantum Flight program and you want to start the application process already, it triggers a lot of stuff. And one of the questions is, what do you believe humility to be? How would you define humility? And the truth is that true humility is the literal ability to feel any and all emotion fully, to be so raw in it that you are humble enough to let every ounce of insight and pain, shame, guilt, fear, joy, revelation, whatever the emotion is, be felt fully. And that's the gift, because when you can do that, that's what actually releases and opens the energy body to receive more light and move into that state of higher awareness, higher vibrational plateau, higher connection capacity with your light body. So it's all part of this healing process that we're going through, and we can call it healing, we can call it releasing, we can call it activating, but there are pieces that need to open and release, and that's one of those. So hopefully that gave a little insight and a little, for some of you, a breathe easy, or a wow, I hadn't really considered that piece, or maybe that helps you explain something to a friend that you've been puzzled with your friend, trying to accompany them through that journey. And all of that, because there's a big feeling of feeling less than as far as a woman with anything, any body parts having been removed or missing. And the truth is, once you connect with the full energetic, through the mental body, the emotional body, and the auric field body, and then the higher bodies, you're not going to be stymied or held back by those connections to the physical body when those emotions are released of why was it created. You know, if you've had any part, whether it's breast tissue or the womb space or any level of what you might feel is disfigurement or shift or change to the physical body, it's just a remodeling for whatever medical or emotional reasons. Those emotions need to process and comprehend why that was created, because we're never a victim. And the knowledge is so powerhouse when you step into the ability to realize that you on a soul level are literally writing every part of your play. So if you've had that experience and you've been blaming the universe, blaming this guy or that experience or this or that event for what's gone on with your body, you need to take ownership and step into that empowered place of, wow, wait, I am a powerful creator. I wrote that into my script. I called that forth in order to actually live out these emotions. And maybe it's a balance of karma. Maybe it's a final play out in a bigger game that is part of the greater script, because this may be your last time around as an incarnational experience in physical form, and you wanted to have that endgame piece. I know for me, I've had multiple end chapters where it's like, wow, totally different books each time even. I feel like I've rewritten my life multiple times, and I can see with clarity what they were closing and completing. And so just knowing that's a really empowered place to be, and an ability to step into your own knowing when you claim and realize how you have created and are writing the script of absolutely every single choice point and every single event that's coming into your life. And it takes away any blame of that guy, blame of the ex, blame of the family, blame of this and that. They're all co-creators in it, and they all have different choice points. But if it's something that's triggering you emotionally, especially in a grievous or traumatic way that you feel going into victim or going into smallness, whoa, breathe into it and go, wait a minute, why did I do this? Why did I create this? And see where that takes you. And let the dragons guide you through that. The black dragon is magnificent for that, as is your Wombhara dragon, in being able to see the shadow. Being able to see, like, what's the inversion of this? What have I called forth on my journey that is waiting for me to step into my power and realize, oh my gosh, this is actually a huge gift, and now that I can see it straight, now that I can see it for what it is, oh my goodness, I can forgive myself for all these other things and know that I've balanced it and release all the players. Watch the dynamic change. I will give you a little secret here too. I don't know why this is coming in, but I will tell you that I have actually had insight over the years of my journey where I realized that something was going on in my life, and it was a challenging player, and I had someone that did a psychic reading practice, and they had information come in. They told me this story, and it absolutely fit, and I started tying together the pieces of that lifetime to what was playing out now, and I had this little insight, this little poke in the back from my higher self to say, now go into that timeline and make different choices. Go in and rectify that situation and watch what happens over here. That's empowering. Did you know you can do that? I literally went in and decided to start making different choices in that timeline of how I was playing things out, how I was being a jerk, how I was not stepping up to the plate for some stuff, and it shifted things in this timeline, maybe not as to how the other players are living their journey, because they have to actually step into their own empowerment, but it absolutely changed the dynamic of my interaction with that energy. And that has been a very powerful tool of awareness of what powerful creators are, what powerful beings we are. And when you connect in with self and you're even aware of your other levels and other timelines, that's where you can actually shift all of your playouts when you recognize patterns that you have, things that you're doing, actions that you are taking, and go in and rewrite the scripts, rewrite the contracts, and watch what starts to unfold. All right. I feel like I've got on long enough today. It's been a really interesting discussion, at least from my end. I enjoy these types of deeper questions. So I hope this was useful or insightful on some level for you or one of your friends that you want to pass it on to. I will see you next Tuesday. If you're needing guidance or assistance, I do those free discovery calls to sort of get you lined out of what might be the best direction to head with the dragons, or on your own personal journey, what might be a perfect program or things of session work or guided meditations or things that would be good tools for you to use for where you're at. And those are all on the Book Now button through my homepage at dragonwithin.com, and that will take you to the booking calendar. Know that it only goes 3 weeks out. So if you don't see anything 3 weeks out, I am not booked for the next 2 years. Don't think I want to be, because I want to plug in some vacation times there and be in more of a flow. So I only have it 3 weeks out, and that allows you to just keep checking back every few days. All right. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday. Send your questions or topics in that you want to hear, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.